have been me. I could see that now. I could see the album. They'll come and say, hey, man, we'll get you on and we can get this done. But today on the Russ Meek Speaks show, I have a notable individual here to talk about some key things that are happening around the planet, primarily in Africa. And my friend here, they call him Dada. He's going to introduce himself, and then we're going to start talking a little bit more about the thousands of things that he has in terms of opportunities for people to do business in Africa. So, Dada, tell them about yourself.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I was a banker in Nigeria,
Okay.
Ganiyu Dada. I came here in 1975 to go to school at UIC, University of Illinois, to further my career in business. So I graduated 78, from University of Illinois, and then I have my MBA from Roosevelt in 1991.
Okay.
1981. So since that time, after 81, I did programming, in computer, so whereby you have COBOL, RPG, Fortran, all sorts of things like that.
Okay.
Then, that we continue to taking Americans to Nigeria for business. So I have a very good relationship with a particular friend, so who's very much interested in Africa too. So we keep going, So as a result of that, then later on, we venture into Oracle application.
Okay.
In 2000. Then I spent a whole year in Silicon Valley and Oracle Financial, Then 9/11 happened. When 9/11 happened, so we stopped. We cannot do anything again. Then went back to international.
What was that impact on 9/11 on Africa?
Well, remember that IT war went down.
Right.
By that time. When IT war went down, so the next thing is to focus more on international business.
Okay.
And along the line, I became the president of Continental African Chamber of Commerce here in Chicago. Then I became the chairman, board of trustee for Nigeria and diaspora in all the Americas, from Peru to Canada.
Okay.
Including the purpose of, we call it NIDO, Nigeria and diaspora. The purpose of that is to work with the Nigerian government for national development.
Got it.
Which coincides with what I'm doing here as the president of Continental African Chamber of Commerce in Chicago.
Okay. Now, right now, Dada, you got thousands of opportunities that are there in Nigeria and in Africa. We're talking one of the largest continents on the planet with the largest pool of natural resources that are there in Africa. But right now, you do multiple things with the different companies that you work through. So if I'm a black man and I'm trying to get my business into Africa and I want to come to Nigeria, what's the process?
Well, it's very straightforward. Number one, you have to have somebody that is reliable to work with, that will take you there. Additionally, you have to go to state of Illinois. There's an office there, for African businesses. Then there's U.S. Commerce Department on the federal level. All these people are looking for those who are interested in doing business in Africa.
Now, is it true that in Africa they really love American businesses?
Oh, it's number one choice.
Okay.
When it comes to Africa and come to Nigeria, it is America first.
Okay.
It's when they cannot find any opportunity in America before they talk about Europe or talk about China or talk about anywhere else. But everybody from Africa, including Nigeria, is America first.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I can get my company over here. I got a manufacturing company. I got a steel producing company. I got a mom and pop make you biscuits company. We can come into Africa and you guys would open the doors and say, look, we would love to have you and you guys can make a lot of money.
Fortunately enough, United States since I came to this country, I've always been interested in doing business in Africa.
Okay.
And they have a lot of programs and fund. You know, they have in SBA, they have in Exim Bank, you know, and they have TDA, all kind of programs to support minorities as well as majority to do business in Africa.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. I'm a company, I have a little manufacturing operation here, and I want to do business in Africa. Do I come to you, or do I come to a certain office, or where do I go?
Well, because of relationship, you can come to somebody who understands Africa, who understands the country you want to go, and then when you do that, then they will give you access or tell you how to get more independent information from state of Illinois or from U.S. Commerce Department. But if you come to us that are doing it on every day of our life, then we will show you how to go about it.
Okay, so do we call you?
Yeah, you can call me anytime.
At what number?
773-531-5742.
And then you can go to Africa, you know, Dada, hey, you can get this business rolling off the bat.
Well, it's not part of, you know, actually we are a household name in Nigeria too. We are a household name in Tanzania. We are a household name in Kenya. We are a household name in South Africa. I mean, because I've been to about 35 African countries on behalf of State of Illinois and U.S. Commerce Department. Okay. You know, so I mean, for the purpose of increasing U.S. trade and investment in Africa.
Because I talked to my boy, Dick Durbin, he said, hey, you got to know Dada. You want to do some business in Africa? Hey, this is the way to get it done.
Well, thank God for that, because the U.S. Commerce Department asked Senator Durbin to recognize what Kofa and Mr. Dada is doing in Africa in increasing U.S. trade and investment in Africa using American ECAs of Exim Bank, you know, to increase trade.
Okay, so that's another process that gets it done. So you have multiple companies that you're working with right now. What is the step? I mean, let's talk about a few of them. You tell me, what's the companies that you're right now looking to help and do many things?
Well, the major company that we are using, that we've been using for the past 20 years or for 20 years, is Kofa International. Okay. Kofa International is facilitating financing for African business people, both public and private sector. Okay. You know, to do business, to buy made in United States. Made in United States, we are job creators in United States because our business is to make sure that manufacturers ship out from the warehouse so that they can maintain their staff strength and employ more people if necessary. Because if you produce and you have no market, so what we are doing is market access for American manufacturers.
Okay, so if I'm a U.S. company, American company, yes, I make a certain product, I can use Kofa to get this distributed back into Africa or to Nigeria.
Exactly. Okay. So at the same time, we are doing the same thing on the reverse order for African manufacturers. We're working on market access to U.S. markets too. Okay. So we have market access for U.S. manufacturers in Africa, and we have market access for African manufacturers in the United States.
So you're saying that I can come to Africa and do business, and there is a ton of demand for U.S. companies?
Yes. You know, Africa relatively is a virgin land that needs development. You know, this is a developed economy. United States is a developed economy. They have everything that's required to develop. Whereas in Africa, there are a lot of everything there, but there's no enough capital, no enough technology, no enough manpower. But now, many people have been, graduated now, that you have everything now, but you need to use U.S. money, U.S. capital and technology to develop Africa.
Okay. So the format I come back to, I got a company, U.S.-based, I can expand, do Africa, Nigeria being one component, and right now you guys have the resources and the facilities to utilize our product. And pretty much we can go in and make a ton of money.
That is correct. Unfortunately, Americans are not as much, they are not as interested in Africa.
Why?
Just like the Chinese or the Europeans and this and that.
Yeah, because the Chinese come into Africa and make tons of money.
They make a lot of money. Yeah. Yeah. But for whatever reason, the African business as a whole is still less than 3% of the world trade.
Okay.
So they always believe that we don't have big projects. Which is not true.
Okay. And what's the biggest project going on right now in Africa?
Oh, people they are doing 5 billion, 10 billion projects. Okay. In Mozambique, in Nigeria, everything.
Any particular industry?
It's a matter of perception to believe that there's no big project. I mean that we cannot do big projects.
Yeah, so I get these reports of different land developments that are taking place. I'd say you pretty much got to open the door and say, hey, this is what's happening in Africa. And is there a source where you can find that? Is they come through COFA to find these opportunities?
Yeah, we are. This is what we've been doing, and in the last 20 years, we have not done any bad project in Africa.
Okay.
There's no American company we have taken to Africa that has lost their money. And because, we finance it from U.S. Exim Bank, and when we are financed from U.S. Exim Bank, we work through the U.S. embassies in Africa. So we work together in collaboration with them, okay. To provide financing for whatever they are buying. So the U.S. bank will pay the U.S. manufacturer.
Okay. And
then the African bank will guarantee the American bank that is financing. And American banks are more interested in that in that system because they know for sure if anything goes wrong, U.S. Exim Bank, which is a subsidiary of U.S. Treasury, we pay them within 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
That's, again, one strategy, kind of like the U.S. kind of supporting you to say, hey, we back the dollars that are going into.
But the problem U.S. government have is that they don't have enough Americans that are interested in taking advantage of the opportunity.
Okay. And that's the way it's working.
That is the key problem. I mean, simply because of they believe that there's corruption in Africa, and a lot of people too have gone to jail, on these corrupt practices because you have to sign agreement here that you are not going to bribe anybody.
Got it. And that's one thing that COFA does. It can help you U.S. company. You want to do business in Africa, can show you the tracks of what you need to do to make this happen.
Yes.
Okay. So that's one component. You do a lot of things also in terms of education.
Well, see, each country we went to, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in Dar es Salaam, in Kenya, in Tanzania, name it, you will see a lot of people, a lot of graduates with no job. Then you see a lot of hospitals that have no equipment, this and that. That led us to say, okay, those things we cannot do under business. Then we created NGOs. One is called Americas for Africa. Americas for Africa has part of the mission to be advocacy, to be health, quality health delivery, quality education, research-based opportunity, and communication and market access for both U.S. and Africa. So as a result of that, so we are now going out to raise money, from different institutions, to send medical equipment, on the side of health to those people. There's another one called African Youth Relief Initiative that we have completed all this something now. That one is to raise, find use computers, use computer, everything like that, okay. To take to Africa and give to the students, so that they can be up to date, attach them to universities here or technical colleges here, so that you can prepare them for information, education, training, and empowerment.
Okay.
So that they can be entrepreneurs. Now they have basic education already, but they just need to have something to do instead of just, roaming the street.
Yeah, and again, it's the opportunity that is there. We have a lot of youth that could utilize different things, the technology that's available. Right now, we're just saying we're going to provide it and let them do what they've learned how to do.
And United States is very good. There's no other country in the world that can beat United States in entrepreneurship. So it's just a matter of with technology that exists today, if you join them with a technical school here or university here and everything here, and do online training for them, or with other agencies in Africa, provide them with used laptops, FISAT technology, whereby they have bandwidth, to do things, then at least they will not be behind.
Okay. Again, we're talking about African students that are learning the technology and different things of that nature. And are they looking to do this in Africa, or are they looking to come to America?
Well, I mean, the first choice of any African is to come to the United States.
Oh no, come to America.
That is the honest truth.
Okay.
But fortunately enough, right now, because of technology, a lot of developers, Nigerian developers, they are doing it,
at home,
over there,
right.
And they are doing it for. I mean, you talk about American companies using people in India, using people in.
We got India, we got South America, we got all the
anywhere.
Yeah.
So as a result of, they're doing it in Nigeria too now.
Okay.
Whereby people are working for American companies living in Nigeria, paying them in dollars, because it's cheaper for American companies to hire people in Africa than to hire them in Chicago or in New York. Right. I mean, what will cost them $10,000 a month here, or $5,000 a month? Probably they pay them $2,000 a month.
In Nigeria.
In Nigeria,
right.
Which is still big money to them.
Now, for me, I had a big issue with Africa right now. We utilize a lot of natural resources from Africa. You guys have the best in diamonds, in gold, and different minerals that are out there. Right now, I'm informed that our cell phones could not operate unless we utilize natural resources out of Africa. So, is there some subsidy that we need to pay back to Africa for all the things we've taken from them?
Well, I wish, the Congress will do that. But those who are doing it, I mean, you have to realize that in almost every African country, the Chinese are there. Mm-hmm. They've taken over from United States and Britain and Europeans. And I've been in the meeting in Kinshasa, with the European Union, on this issue, So as a result of that, it's the idea that Africa is a small place. I mean, that's the way Americans think in the past. That was how they lost the market to the Chinese. Right. Now they want to get back to the market now.
Because we have a battle right now for this product called coltan.
Yes.
Coltan is used in every cell phone that you have running around, and you could not operate without coltan. And right now, Africa is the primary source for where that resource is taken.
It's existing in almost every African country. The largest in DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, But you see, the way people do, unfortunately, is that they create war. The Western world, they create wars, whereby they be able to get this thing out of. I mean, you remember the war in Liberia, the war in Sierra Leone, the war, even the war in Nigeria too. You understand? So, because it's only when they have this problem of wars, and I mean, you can see what is going on in Mali, in Burkina Faso, in Central Africa, though Russia may be liberating these countries, but because they are liberating because of the minerals.
Right. My question then is, are these corporations, primarily U.S. corporations right now, that utilize these minerals, are they creating these wars internally in Africa to make sure their cost factors are kept down?
Well, we cannot say that Americans are creating war. No, not the Americans. It is when we talk about who are creating war, indirectly, by the Europeans, by the Chinese, by the, all other places. See, there is very good constitution here in the United States. You see, these anti-corrupt practices, and that you have human rights. Okay, those are the two important issues that make United States the best in the world.
Okay, and again, that's true. I'm just trying to focus on the fact that the U.S. is utilizing so many natural resources out of Africa, and right now it's to their advantage to keep Africa down, not giving them the ability to build, prosper, utilize what they have, and right now they keep their cost factors down. That's what I see from an economic standpoint.
Yes, you can see it. Well, you believe, which is correct, that there are a lot of minerals from Africa that Americans are using, but they are using it from the third hand because they are buying it from the Europeans. They are buying it for, not many Americans are, America is not there directly. And that is what we are looking for. We want direct involvement of America. Rather, they buy those things from Europeans or from the other people that are bringing it to them.
Okay.
Simply because of human rights problem, simply because of anti-corrupt practices, which is, America must not practice.
Got it. What's happening with our current president? Is he seeing the fact that Africa has so many resources available? Is he trying to make that a better relationship now?
You're talking of 54 president. Which president of Africa you're talking about?
I'm talking about our current U.S. president.
Oh, President Biden.
Correct.
Oh, it's the best president for Africa as of today.
Okay.
I mean, just like Clinton did the best he could do, Obama did the best he could do, because what do you expect him to do again? What I mean by President Biden, the chairman and president of Exim Bank, which is used worldwide, is an African American. The general director for U.S. grant for doing business worldwide is an African American. See, every key position for development is held by African Americans right now.
Okay.
So, what excuse do we want to give again?
Yeah. I'm just looking at.
We have no excuse.
Yeah, I don't want the excuses.
The problem is for African Americans to be in the forefront of promoting trade between United States and and Africa.
Okay.
Unfortunately, they are not there.
Got it. Another issue we're going to get back to, but an area that you are also involved with, the health side. Right now, you're trying to create a number of different health things that can help people here in the U.S. and in Africa?
Well, right now, what we do with America for Africa, we partner with leading NGOs. One of them is Project Cure. Project Cure is supplying medical equipment to about 135 countries of the world.
Okay.
And in the last 10 years, he has donated more than $250 million worth of medical equipment to Nigeria alone. So, but unfortunately, from the region I came from in Nigeria, he has not touched that area. So we are working with them. We are partnering with them right now, to be shipping. We are to be shipping to about 20 hospitals in the next 5 years. So we have just completed the need assessment for 6 faith-based hospitals, and that is the one we want to try to be shipping to right now. Okay. Because the purpose is that if you don't have equipment for the doctors to treat people, you can prevent exactly.
Right.
So that is what we are doing. So while America for Africa is working on health industry, African Youth Relief is working on unemployment side.
Okay.
Of the issue. At the same time, COFA is, empowering the SME, small business companies over there, by those who qualify to get money from here to buy equipment to produce wealth in Africa, in Nigeria.
So again, health is an issue now. Is this health that's being developed going to also help in the U.S.?
Health?
Is the health development, because right now we're trying to create these opportunities in Africa.
Yes.
On the health development,
yes.
Making sure people are getting better, faster.
Right.
Is this also translating back to the U.S.?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, because the idea is that if what is good, the way Exim Bank is structured, they gave you opportunity, they call it African Growth Act, you know, you come here to come and get our equipment so that our factory can be busy. You know, our boys, our men and women can be employed in the United States.
Right.
Take that equipment back to Africa to go and, you know, process your minerals as well as your agricultural products so that you can create wealth there and create employment there. So we are creating employment in the United States and creating employment in Africa at the same time.
Got it. So right now we have a huge relationship with South Africa. A lot of business goes back and forth. We have a number of other relationships all around Africa, Nigeria and other areas that are there. But right now we're talking about this huge continent that has tons of Africans that right now are available to help wherever they can and to create things better. And we also come back to the fact that, hey, a lot of technology and knowledge came out of this place called Africa, like Egypt and different things of that nature. So we're like, hey, we're just coming back to the homeland, come back to Africa. And right now we're trying to educate people, say, look, you can come back to Africa, utilize the resources, utilize technology, and utilize smart people.
That is correct. And I hope people like you and others will help us, because since I came to this country, the French Chamber of Commerce in Chicago is still there. The German Chamber of Commerce is still there. The German diaspora, French diaspora, everything. You know, we have to have the African Americans too to be in the forefront, to be interested in Africa. You know, and we have a program, we have diaspora program in our America for Africa.
Okay.
You know, whereby we want to energize many capable with capacity to do business, you know, to go back to Africa, to use all the resources in the United States that is available, that they are looking for people to go, you know, so that they can go there and strengthen the relationship between U.S. and Africa, you know, on mutual benefit. Because a lot of people can make more money working, using U.S. technology and U.S. money in Africa than they can make here at home.
Got it. So right now we got a lot of money here in the U.S. We're talking about the largest financial megas on the planet right now, and they can pretty much go into Africa and pretty much make things happen in Africa. But the real issue is it hasn't been happening. Why?
Well, it hasn't been happening because they believe on the perception of Africa is negative. Because what they see on Sundays, on the TV, on CNN, or every television is war. People fighting war, aid, you know, people that are, you know, trying to raise money for, which is not true. Because, you know, when we took people on behalf of President Clinton to Nigeria, and they saw that people have Rolls Royce, people have everything that they have in Chicago here. In actual fact, we have some of our friends that have their private jet. You know, they realize that it's not what they see on TV every day.
Okay.
That is true. Okay. That, you know, yes, there could be poor people, there could be this and that, you know. And I challenge them here in the Association of Black Journalists. You know, I say, well, they say, well, to get the rating, they don't have to talk about the good side of everything that exists here. They only have to talk about the bad things.
Got it. So is Africa in the same scenario that Chicago was when Al Capone was around? Because Al Capone controlled Chicago. Is there a same format in Africa?
It's there. Yes, you know, there are similar things like Al Capone too. Okay. I mean, because anywhere there is so much resources, you know, to control. I mean, take Nigeria, for example. There are oil money, you know. I mean, those people that are controlling oil money, right, they are like Al Capone. That's what I'm talking about.
Just like one of the largest oil producers, Chevron.
Yes.
Main source is Africa.
The largest office of Chevron outside Texas is in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. The largest, you know. I mean, when you talk of South Africa with United States, this and that, don't forget it. Most of these companies were established during apartheid regime.
Okay.
Because they were using slave labor there. You know, that was why you have many American companies there by that time. You know.
Is there still slave labor in Africa?
Well, that is the difference between China and Africa. Africa is now very educated, whereby they know about labor laws, and a lot of people are educated in Africa. But compared to China, whereby it's, the only reason you have 64,000 U.S. companies in China today is because of slave labor. And now China has now developed, so the labor cost has gone up. When more people have been educated, they've moved about 800 million out of poverty to middle level, income level. So there's no more slave labor in China. So now people are rushing to Vietnam. American companies are rushing to Vietnam and coming back to Mexico. But why don't you bring those companies to Africa? That is our concern. Because we want most of those companies to come back to the labor cost in Africa is still very low. It's still very cheap.
Okay.
But still, they rather come to Mexico or go to Vietnam, So that's our challenge.
So my company, let's say I have 1,000 people in my staff right now, and I want to lower my labor cost. You're saying I can come to Africa and make that happen?
Any African country, the labor cost will be cheaper than United States. And there's high-skilled labor in many African countries today. Because, as a former chairman of the board of trustees of Nigerian diaspora, we control Nigerian doctors. If they remove Nigerian doctors from United States will be in trouble.
Okay. So would the logic be to have my company here in the U.S. and possibly set up a subsidiary in Africa to start utilizing the labor source that's there and go back and forth and say, hey, where do we get my most efficient use for my company?
That was what Clinton did, African Growth Opportunity Act that allows Africans, to be producing and bringing it to the market here free of duty.
Okay.
As long as you come and buy the equipment here, but you don't even have to buy equipment, to do that. So, but still, we don't see enough Americans that, the perception of corruption, that is there because
it's Al Capone.
So that's the problem, So, and that is why we are out there every day preaching to people, to say, hey, let's go to Africa. Okay. You will make good money. You don't have to bribe people. If you do things according to the law, we are lucky. We've been doing it successfully. We have good track record in U.S. Commerce Department here. We have good track record in U.S. embassies in Africa. We have good track record with U.S. manufacturers in United States, like DSC company in Louisiana, So, we have good record.
So what's your forecast, your Dada? Next 5 to 10 years, what are we going to be doing in the U.S. and Africa?
I believe strongly that if we can remove all the negative perception of Africa, I participated in the World Bank, IMF, something by stream yesterday all day, and they say Africa will have the largest workforce in the world by 2050, So right now, just like United States is begging China not to overproduce, U.S. Treasury just came back from China last week to go and lobby them not to overproduce, this and that. Africa will be the same very shortly because there's manpower, there's technology, there's everything right now. So it's not Africa of yesterday.
So it's going to be the same format where right now U.S. companies come to Africa, rape the resources, produce it, sell it around the world. Is that still going to be the format, or is it going to be a format where we start paying Africans for the minerals that are being utilized, and that's distributed into the corporation and everybody shares equally?
Well, it's already starting. Remember, about 3 months ago or 4 months ago, France was ejected from a country called Niger Why? Because the uranium they were digging, they were paying them about 25 cents per kilo. And they are selling it at $200 per kilo. So Africa ejected France, the colonial master, and about 5 countries like that did the same thing. This, just last year, Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, Niger, and now it's going on in Senegal and also all those now, so there's no room for exploitation anymore.
So you're saying that the world now is acknowledging the fact that Africa has resources, but we cannot exploit these resources from Africa anymore.
No. You have to pay. The period right now is about fair trade. Fair trade.
Okay.
Fair trade is mutual benefit. I will take your technology, I will take your money, I will pay the right interest rate, you will pay the right price to get my minerals.
Okay.
I mean, it's easier said than done. The fight is still going on in DRC, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The fight is still going on in Sudan. The fight is still going on in even Ethiopia, So there are so many, but when you look at the underlying causes of all this trouble, it's because, just to be able to steal the minerals. They create problems. So when they created the problem, and they are the one mitigating the problem at the same time.
Got it. So what do you see, Dada, next 5 to 10 years? What do you want Africa to be?
Well, I want many of African countries to be, upper income countries, to be developed just like Asian countries. I mean, look at in 2000, China wasn't much. If it were not for Nixon, and Kissinger and Bush Senior, they opened the door for China. Then China, 64,000, if you see my book, 64,000 US companies are there, 28,000 are producing for export out of China. Okay. So, and I was privileged to sit around the table with the US Exim Bank chairman and China Exim Bank, together at a meeting in Washington, D.C. at US Exim Bank, who said that, well, you are making all the money. So what is the problem you are talking about? That is China was accusing United States, So as a result of that, I just hope we will be able to get a lot of U.S. interest in Africa.
Because right now I look at what's happening around the planet. Technology is still the booming area. Right now I got a company like Taiwan Semiconductor. Right now it's going to be the #1 semiconductor producer here in the U.S. Why can't we set that up in Nigeria to have the Nigerian semiconductor?
That is the challenge of every African country and the challenge of Nigeria too. Everybody is blaming Nigeria or African elites to say, okay, there are so many PhDs, there are so many doctors, so many engineers, so many everything. Why not made in Africa, made in Nigeria, made in this, But at the same time, the West, headed or led by United States, don't want Africa to develop to that level. That's the honest truth.
Okay. Is there a barrier there, though, that we cannot let Africa grow so
They
much?
want Africa to be source of raw material.
Okay.
Not to be competing with them.
Okay. We don't want the competition.
Yeah,
we want the resources.
They want the resources, and many people have said it too, that if they allow Africa to develop to that thing, then they will lose the leverage here, So, I always used to think in the past that any president that cannot go out there to go and rob all other countries to come and make American standard to remain the same will not last in the White House.
So, what's been the issue with Russia in Africa?
Russia is trying to get its own share of Africa right now. And unfortunately, it's getting it done in West Africa because he has got it from Guinea up to, all the Sahel.
Okay.
He has been very successful to do that because of the greed of France. And particularly most of these things happened in French-speaking countries, whereby they are exploiting Africa terribly bad, So then Russia came in and said it will help them to liberate them.
Okay.
Gave them weapons, gave them everything. So in about 6 African countries now, Russia have helped them to chase out France.
Got it. Now, who's controlling this? Because right now, who's the big overlord that makes sure things are done the right way?
That is a very serious question, because they chase France out of those countries. We are looking forward. We hope that the Africans, because most of these guys that took over are military guys, we hope they will act right on behalf of African citizens, not on their own behalf.
Okay.
Because the military guys are terrible too. They don't have good record. And personally, which I said, I never had my feeling for Russia. I don't know of any country that Russia has developed positively in my life.
Okay.
We just,
you wouldn't put Cuba on there?
so we just talk about America helped China to develop.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about America and South Africa. You're talking about Americas in Nigeria, Americas here and there. Everybody wants to come to America. The only thing you can talk about about Russia is creating problem. See how they destroyed Syria.
Oh.
They were in Afghanistan before.
Right.
Before America went there. You remember? I cannot point to, but according to history, I cannot point to anywhere where Russia has developed positively. I was in Dar es Salaam in Ethiopia. Okay. I saw their vehicles and all sorts of things like. I don't see what is there. Okay, look at it right now. They are fighting the Russian people supporting themselves in Sudan.
Right.
They are killing people, every day, in Sudan. America just gave them 100 million, for humanitarian support.
Right.
They gave another 150 million to Ethiopia. Where we didn't hear about what did Russia give? Russia always give ammunition to destroy.
Right. Hey, here you go. We got some extra ammunition. Here you go. Take it.
You understand what I'm talking about? Yeah. That is why I don't see the positive image of Russia, with the exception of helping some countries in Africa to liberate themselves from France.
Mm. So that's the way it works. So right now, I got the issue where, again, for the years that I've looked at Africa and the relationships with the U.S., it has been a format where the U.S. has come in and tried to assist where they could, but I still see the U.S. as taking resources, and not giving as much as they get in return.
That is correct. Well, because we allow them to take. Mm. We, African diaspora, African elites, it's the greed of African elite that we allow them to do it. If they don't allow them to do it, things will be better for all of us.
Got it.
But so the responsibility is on our side, and the responsibility on the African Americans too, because the French people in the United States, they are fighting for the French. The Jewish people are fighting for Israel. But the African Americans, you don't see many. Yes, they make pronouncement, but it has not translated to action.
What's the presence of the Jews in Africa? The Jews.
What's their what?
What is the presence of the Jews in Africa these days?
Well, Ethiopia is called African Jewish people.
Okay.
So, and unfortunately, they don't have very good relationship with the state of Israel too, according to what the people are saying on the book, you know. So as a result of that, you know, I seriously believe it is our responsibility, the African elites, to find ways of mobilizing resources from here and technology from here, partner with those who are interested. You know, there's amount of money in Exim Bank, you know, to use for mutual benefit, for the benefit of United States and benefit of Africa. So, but we got to do it right.
Right. Question on you. What's the format here right now with Africa and saying, hey, what's really needed? Right now, resources would be great. Having capital that's brought in definitely would be great. Technology will definitely can bring that in as needed, and education, always good. But what else is needed?
Well, see, it's unfortunate I have to say this. You have a lot of greedy Africans too.
Okay.
You know, the chiefs.
It's all over.
The politicians.
Right.
You know, so they are part of the problems. You know, rather than creating, because nobody is perpetual. All of us will die.
Right.
You know.
I'm not going though.
So it's much better to let us impact more people positively, you know, through development, as opposed to just one family taking what is meant for millions of people and just, you know, I call it return to sender. Because when they steal money from Africa, they bring it to US, take it to Switzerland, take it to Ireland, you know, all these kind of places like that. And when they die, you know, the money didn't go back to Africa. And it's, you know, the money went from here to Africa and came back to you.
Now here's a question. Does the US, being one of the main utilizations of African slave labor, should they be giving some remunerations to Africa from what took place?
Yes, they support, and they are doing it too, because there's what they call MCC, Millennium Challenge program, whereby they give so many grants to people without controlling it. You know, they just give them and say, use it for development of your country. But on the condition that you are running a good democratic government. You know, so it's a reward for running democratic government, you know, good governance, you know. So, but many African countries too, they can meet the guidelines, including Nigeria, you know, because they believe that without your grant, we can live with our oil money.
Got it.
So
now, what else? We've talked about a number of things that COFA does and you are doing. What else are you doing?
Well, what is most important right now to develop, and according to that one, see, when the COVID came and we were locked up, we couldn't go anywhere. Unfortunately, we saw some of our neighbors that lost their children to substance abuse, you know, cocaine, heroin, all these kind of things. So some of us put our resources together, and then we established a substance abuse clinic, you know, to prevent, you know, people opioid death. I mean, you hear from the United States government every year. In actual fact, last week, they just arrested a container around here that bringing fentanyl from China.
Right.
You know, so Chicago has the highest death of opioid around here, followed by DuPage, as well as Wick County. So today, we have one of the accredited center in Bolingbrook to be dealing with opioid addiction, to reduce opioid death in in that locality, in that Wick County, DuPage County, and all sorts of things like that.
Okay.
So
now, the other report also came out that China is supporting companies in China to develop this opioid addictions here in the U.S.
Yes, that is true. Even including cannabis. You know, I mean, there was a report about 2 weeks ago whereby, you know, the Chinese, they control all the cannabis here, you know, in Alabama and all sorts of things like that.
Right.
You know, so at the same time, I mean, because that's the way, any way for them to make money.
Yeah, it's making money and it's also affecting the U.S.
Yes.
Our economy, it affects our labor marketplace here.
Yes.
And it's something that affects the economy because right now we can't work effectively with people drugged out.
Can you imagine if you come to our clinic to come and see, you'd be sorry for people, very unfortunate, killing our children, able-bodied people, all kind of things like that. But fortunately enough now, there's enough program, to save both students and adults, and and it's so prevalent that it's very unfortunate.
Got it.
So that is what has kept me, in particular, out of Africa during the COVID problem. Now that COVID is subsidized down right now, so we are back to development of Africa as usual. Because on June 6 and 7, we will be in Washington, D.C. as usual with all the representative of Biden administration, as well as captain of economy, GE, Boeing, everybody again, for 2 days, and everybody will choose to see how can we, move U.S. money and technology to develop. I chose Africa. I can do the same thing in France. I can do the same thing in London. I can do the same thing in China, but because Africa is my own backyard, right. That's why I chose. I'm dealing with the 55 African countries.
Yeah, going to your hometown.
Exactly.
Dada, we've gone through a lot of time. We have only a few minutes left. What did we not talk about?
Well, there are a lot of things, that we have to deal with in Africa between here and there, which is research. Everything we do in United States is research-based. In Africa, we react to things that happen, rather than do valid research, and base it on fact-based something. So that's one of the things that America for Africa is focusing on. And communication, to change the perception of United States people, from just people killing each other, or people believe Africans don't have purchasing power.
Okay.
That is why many Americans say, I don't want to waste my time there.
Yeah, they're not going to buy it. They don't have the money.
They don't have money. You see them on the TV every day.
Just buy coconut. Right now, you're the key contact. What's the number that folks need to contact you, Dada, if they want to get into COFA?
Anytime anybody is looking for information or how to get to anywhere in Africa, they should just call our number 773-531-5742. At least we will lead them, to Africa. We will lead them to the U.S. Commerce Department. We will lead them to the state of Illinois. And we are doing that for so many people right now.
Okay.
We have a diaspora program that we are identifying, African Americans that has capacity to do something.
Talking about the multi-trillion-dollar industry in Africa that's taking place right now. COFA can help you get in the door, show you the avenues that you need to follow to make things work. And right now, you need to do it fast, because if you don't do it here in the U.S., I got my boys in China, they're going to come in and take over as much as they can in Africa.
I don't know of any village in Africa that don't have Chinese right now. Chinese are in every village in Africa right now.
Okay.
They are there.
You guys make good sweet and sour sauce and chicken in Africa.
So the music.
There are a few good Chinese restaurants.
Yes. So we have to do just the way the Chinese are doing, so that we can create many African establishments in America too.
Okay.
It's not just going to Africa, but creating